Oh, hell no. What the fuck is happening, bro? Hey, we out of this hole! We out of this hole! We out of this hole!
This video was supposed to show footage from the shopping center itself, which witnesses managed to capture. However, for some reason, YouTube is blocking the video if it contains that footage. But if you want to see it, leave the keyword "I want" in the comment section and we will share it with you. Miami, January 1st, 2024. The joy of the new year suddenly turned into absolute chaos at the Miami Mall. Images instantly spread across the internet showing an incredible concentration of police forces, hundreds of police cars and dozens of officers. What forced the Miami police to take such disproportionate measures? The official answer was, about 50 teenagers were rioting, fighting and shooting fireworks at people, causing mass panic. However, this story seemed too mild to internet users to explain such a military response. Soon, another, much more sensational version emerged, based on alleged eyewitness testimonies and unclear visuals. At the epicenter of this story are videos and accounts of tall, shadow-like creatures allegedly walking in the shopping center area. We managed to obtain the testimonies of several people and video material from the scene, so hold on tight, because these stories are crazy. These stories allow a look at the events from an unusual perspective. The first story. I was standing in line at the cash register when I heard screams and saw people running. Their faces were overcome not with panic, but with pure horror. I went to check what was happening. At first, I thought it was an armed attack, but then I saw them. Not fireworks, not a gang of teenagers. They were about 12 feet tall, grey, shadow-like silhouettes. Their movements were slow, but terrifying. I couldn't believe my eyes. People were simply falling to the ground. Others ran without looking back. One of those creatures rose above me. It seemed to have no body, just a dark mist with purple, pulsating eyes. I felt faint. I felt myself lift into the air, and for a moment I thought I was going to die. That creature was looking at me. It seemed to be reviewing my entire life, my deepest fears. When I was put back down, all the chaos had already turned into a police operation. Officers were everywhere. I tried to tell them what I saw, but they just dismissed me, looked at me like I was crazy, repeating the line about the riot and fireworks. All witnesses who filmed anything similar claimed their videos disappeared or their phones were taken away. It was a cover-up, no doubt. There are people who believe that these beings ended up in this shopping center by mistake because their teleportation device failed. The coordinates of the Miami shopping center, written in reverse, lead to Antarctica, the most remote and mysterious place on our planet, where ordinary people cannot even set foot. Could it be that these beings were actually traveling not to the Miami shopping center, but to a base in Antarctica? A few days before the incident, something resembling a flying city was observed in the open ocean near Miami. What could all this mean? It was the evening of January the 1st. I was sitting in my observation room, essentially surrounded by dozens of screens showing every corner and corridor. I was prepared for the usual holiday chaos. Some drunk tourist, perhaps a small brawl over a taxi. But what happened was unlike anything I could have imagined. The first thing that made me sit up straight was the flicker. One monitor showing me one of the shopping center corridors near the main entrance, the place where everything is captured on video, suddenly flashed crazily. Not a reflection of light, not an electrical glitch. It was as if a glass roof had instantly swallowed the sun. A bright, pulsating, strange blue-white glow. It only lasted a second or two, but it felt like an eternity. At first, I thought it was fireworks, but the glow didn't come from below. It looked like it was descending from above, and then it disappeared. As soon as the image returned to normal, I noticed a strange movement. People, already in panic, were running, screaming. I zoomed in, and my heart started pounding. They were there. They weren't teenagers, I could swear to that. They weren't police officers, as the authorities later claimed. On the screen, I saw figures, very tall, I don't know, 8 or even 10 feet. They moved slowly, as if in no hurry, and their silhouettes were too dark, too long, like huge shadowy pillars. They seemed to almost distort the light around them. The detail I remember best, as one of those figures moved through the corridor, the light simply seemed to turn off. Whatever it was, it absorbed the light. It wasn't an optical illusion. It was something material, something that shouldn't have been there. I immediately called my boss. My voice must have been trembling. I said something incredible was happening in the mall, something that was causing people to panic. I didn't even have time to properly describe those silhouettes before I saw the next thing. So many police arrived that I couldn't even count. Dozens of cars with flashing lights, helicopters in the sky. It was clear that this was more than just a response to a small fight. It looked like a military operation. Within minutes, the dark silhouettes I had seen were surrounded, but the camera was too far away for me to see the details. Only once everything calmed down and the police had full control did they begin to spread the story about teenage brawls and fireworks. The thought that won't leave me alone. Teenagers causing chaos wouldn't create such a bright, strange flicker and wouldn't warrant a police response of that magnitude. I've seen dozens of fights. This wasn't one of them. It was a cover-up. I didn't even try to argue. Who would believe me? A security guard who saw shadowy creatures in the shopping center? I thought I'd be ridiculed and fired. I was terrified that I might simply disappear if I delved too deeply into what happened. I was told to rewrite the incident log, stating it was large gatherings of teenagers, and I've been silent ever since. Since that night, I looked differently at the sky, at the lights, and at every reflection. I know what I saw on my monitors. I know that night was real. As terrifying as that reality was, it was there. And now that everything has calmed down, I can tell you that what happened was not fireworks. It was something alien. My only regret is that I didn't manage to record those images, because immediately after the first officers arrived, I was ordered to leave the shopping center. I was later told that all the video footage from that day had disappeared. Hello, I am Roger Knoll, and I want to share what happened, what I experienced at the Miami Bayside Marketplace on January 1st. It is now called the Miami Mall Incident, and the official statement claims it was just teenagers shooting fireworks. But I know what I saw, and it was not fireworks. It was supposed to be just a pleasant New Year's Day dinner with friends. We were sitting at an outdoor cafe, admiring Biscayne Bay. There was a holiday atmosphere, lots of families, tourists, a lively buzz. I felt calm, thinking about the new year. Then, a wave of sound hit. It was not an explosion. It was more like a deep boom or something that shook not the air, but the very ground. Everywhere, people froze, and a second later, it began. I have never, in my life, witnessed such massive panic. It wasn't a slow chaos where people ask, what happened? It was an instinctive flight. Everyone threw everything. Cups, purses, shoes, and ran. My friend yelled, "Shooting! Faster!" We ran inside, into the nearest store, thinking it was the safest place. But there were already people running from the other side. And that is where I saw them. Through the glass storefronts, outside the marketplace, I saw police cars. There were so many. Police on every corner. So much that I realized, this cannot be just for a teenage brawl. It looked like a military operation. But I didn't have time to process it, because then I looked to the other side. There, behind the store, between the buildings, next to those police cars with their lights shining into the sky, I saw a silhouette. It was tall, maybe about 10 feet, something dark, shadowy, moving. It was not a person, neither big nor small. It simply was not. That silhouette moved smoothly, too smoothly. It was what people on the internet later described as a gigantic figure. My heart stopped. I just froze. I didn't feel fear. I felt complete shock. I realized this was not a shooting. This was something else. Something they are trying to cover up. I remember being rushed out of the building, how everyone was forced to leave the area. The police were strict, nervous, and looked like they were searching not for criminals, but for something else. And what happened later? The authorities officially declared Teenagers, fireworks, that's all. But listen, no video, nothing to confirm a riot of 50 teenagers, Miami, New Year's Day, no cell phone footage, a few hundred police officers, closed airspace, for a few teenagers with fireworks? We were told to believe that the giant, shadowy figure that countless people saw was unreal. Just a simple shadow. I know what I saw, and I know it was not just a shadow. I'm not saying it was literally aliens, but it was something not of this world. Something that caused such a panic that the entire city police force was mobilized to cover it up. This was deeper than a riot. This was a panic that arose not from a loud bang, but from what we saw after it. Maybe it was shadow beings, maybe it was some kind of experiment, or maybe it really was aliens. No matter what the official version says, I'm here to say, I was there, and it was not fireworks. What do you think? Is this just historical misinformation, or is the government lying to us? Write your theories in the comments. Did you see any unreleased video from that night? Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more stories that delve into what the official media ignores.